Good evening and welcome to TVB News. A delegation of 20 members of the Hong Kong Bar Association will visit Beijing next month. The visit is seen as significant since it is the association's first visit to the capital in 5 years. Mimo Sangai has our top story.
Victor Dose, chairman of the Hong Kong Bar Association, today confirmed that a 20-member delegation will fly to Beijing in April. This will be the first trip made by the association to Beijing in 5 years. The delegation will stay in the capital for 5 days. In a newspaper interview, Dose revealed the delegation will visit institutions including the Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office, the Supreme People's Court, and Beijing's universities. Dose said there will be discussions on the Hong Kong National Security Law, Basic Law Article 23, and the risk of the city's legal sector facing sanctions by Western countries. Dose, however, stressed the purpose of the trip is not to please Beijing officials. Rather, he hopes there can be a candid conversation between the two sides. Ronnie Tong, a senior counsel who is also a member of the Executive Council, said the upcoming visit of the association is important and meaningful.
I think it's rather important because it is a restarting of a good relationship. The Bar Association has traditionally visited Beijing almost every year, but we have stopped for about 3 years. And I think it is high time that the Bar Association should rebuild the relationship with Beijing, and hopefully we can address important issues like how to tell a good story about Hong Kong and China. I think all these issues require the Bar Association to take up a more positive role.
Dawes also said that Xia Baolong, director of the State Council's Hong Kong and Macau office, met with him in Shenzhen last month before the country's legislature gathered for its meeting earlier this month. Xia reassured Dawes that Hong Kong's independent barristers are crucial and indispensable within the basic law. Lau Xiugai, advisor of the Chinese Association of Hong Kong and Macau Studies, said the central government hopes the city's important legal organizations can help promote the stability of the mainland and Hong Kong. While there was a tradition for the Bar Association to visit Beijing every year, it stopped since 2018 after tensions emerged between Beijing and the then chairman, Philip Dykes. Mimo Sangai, TVB News.
The status of Beijing's main office on Hong Kong affairs has been elevated and will answer directly to China's top Communist Party leadership. The latest announcement means the Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office will answer to the party's Central Committee instead of the State Council. The move is an upgrade of the office's status. An expert said following the change, the central government is set to dedicate more resources to support Hong Kong's development while speeding up its integration into the National Development Blueprint. Chief Executive John Lee met with the Minister of Foreign Affairs Qin Gang in Beijing today. Qin said the Foreign Ministry has always supported the SAR to implement one country, two systems governing principle. Lee arrived at the Foreign Ministry this morning to meet with Qin Gang. Qin said the ministry will continue to support and guide Hong Kong in its diplomatic work based on President Xi Jinping's thoughts on diplomacy. Lee, in response, expressed his gratitude for the ministry's long-term support in areas including counter-intervention and the safeguarding of one country, two systems. Lee also experienced some local culture in Beijing by having breakfast at the Old Alley and visiting a vegetable market nearby. Many travelers were stranded in Hong Kong International Airport this morning due to a system failure, hampering some check-in services and flight schedules. The airport authority apologized for the incident, adding the system has fully resumed operations. 5 flights departing from Hong Kong were affected, with delays of up to 30 minutes. Longer than average queues could be seen in the Hong Kong International Airport departure hall this morning due to a system failure. It mainly affected Cathay Pacific flights. All Nippon Airways and China Airlines flights were also impacted. The queues stretched all the way from check-in counters to the corridors. As staff members scrambled to resolve the problem, no notices were put up to explain what was going on. A traveller was told his 9 a.m. flight to Manila had taken off and was told to wait for the next plane scheduled for 2 p.m. The The man said he wasn't going there for fun and had meetings planned in Manila every single day. This couple heading to Sapporo in Japan arrived at the airport at 6 a.m. But they ended up waiting at least 3 hours, which was long past the scheduled check-in time. The man said, "I was told the server went down. No one was able to tell us where we should wait or when we will be informed to get on board, so we're all just standing here waiting together." Others, like this man, showed more understanding and said he's always prepared for something unexpected during a trip. The airport authority said during a regular test conducted midnight last night, there was a technical glitch in a computer system for aisles A to E in the South Departure Hall. For safety reasons, the authority immediately activated its emergency response mechanism and performed a thorough check. It also informed the affected carriers to guide travelers to the North Departure Hall or other aisles for check-in. The system fully resumed operations at around 9 a.m. The share price of Credit Suisse, Switzerland's second-largest bank, rebounded sharply today after it announced it would borrow up to $54 billion from the Swiss central bank to shore up liquidity and investor confidence. This after a slump yesterday in its shares intensified fears about a global banking crisis. Daniel Rao tells us more.
Credit Suisse's borrowing from the Swiss central bank will be made under the covered loan facility and a short-term liquidity facility, fully collateralized by high-quality assets. It also announced offers for senior debt securities for cash of up to 3 billion francs. The move comes after assurances from Swiss authorities on Wednesday that Credit Suisse met the capital and liquidity requirements imposed on systemically important banks and that it could access central bank liquidity if needed. Credit Suisse is the first major global bank to be given an emergency lifeline since the 2008 financial crisis. Its problems have raised serious doubts over whether central banks will be able to sustain their fight against inflation with aggressive interest rate hikes. Rapid rises in interest rates have made it harder for some businesses to pay back or service loans. This increases the chances of losses for lenders, who are also worried about a recession amid a tense global geopolitical situation and the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. Traders are now betting that the US Federal Reserve, which just last week was expected to accelerate its interest rate hike campaign in the face of persistent inflation, may be forced to hit pause and even reverse course. The concerns about Credit Suisse have also added to broader banking sector fears sparked by last week's collapse of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank, two mid-sized US lenders. Analysts fear more negative developments could be in store for the financial sector if tight liquidity and negative sentiment in the banking sector continue following fresh troubles at Credit Suisse.
Sure. So I think this event of SVB and also the Credit Suisse really reflect what is happening in the financial sector is that we start to see more after effect of the high interest rate. Of course, we cannot say the root causes of the two cases are the same because at the end of the day, the business models may be different, but they share the similarities that there are problems in the corporate governance, and this problem is likely to be enlarged in an environment that with liquidity squeeze and also with a high interest rate.
Daniel Roll, TVB News.
Welcome back to TVB News. Hong Kong's latest unemployment rate has fallen to 3.3%, which is its lowest level in 10 months. According to the Census and Statistics Department, a total of 1,115,700 people became unemployed between December last year and February this year. The unemployment rate for consumption and tourism-related industries decreased by 0.2% from the previous three-month period to 4.3%. Among them, the unemployment rate in the catering service industry fell slightly by 0.1% to 4.8%. Unemployment also dropped in other sectors such as entertainment and transport. Financial Secretary Paul Chan said in his recent budget that the innovation and technology sector is vital for the city's development. Today, an advanced manufacturing facility was launched in InnoPark in Tai Po. The firm has developed the world's first MRI machines for infants and kids. The MRI system, named Neona, was designed and made in Hong Kong. Veronica Lin reports.
The
The opening of the production facility of this medical imaging company marks another step in Hong Kong's path to becoming a world-leading innovation and technology center. It is also another example of advanced manufacturing in the city. One of the flagship products of Thai Medical are its MRI machines, which are designed and manufactured in Hong Kong. The launch has been 6 years in the making, as researchers and scientists had to reinvent and build most of the parts from scratch. So how are these MRI machines different from standard versions? They're designed for kids.
So this one is a baby-dedicated MRI. So in conventional MRIs, they are designed for adults, like for patients around 80 to 100 kg. So the power level is designed for that kind of weight. But unfortunately, if you use it on a baby, which probably 1 kg or 2 kg, is too much and it's too risky for them.
Chung said Neona MRIs operate in a similar way compared with regular MRI machines and would only require the radiographer to have a basic understanding of anatomy. He said the software is more user-friendly. Initially, these MRI machines will be installed in overseas hospitals, including the Massachusetts General Hospital in the U.S. Meanwhile, Thai Medical also launched its PET MRI machines, designed specifically for animals. It's suitable for cats, dogs, turtles, rabbits, chinchillas, and many more types of pet. Getting in an MRI machine could be quite a daunting experience. Unlike adult MRIs, the machine behind me is the world's first neonatal superconductor MRI designed for kids and infants. It claims to be safer and quieter. Veronica Lin, TVB News.
Police sources say the man suspected to have murdered the woman found dead at her home in Kwai Chung is the boyfriend of her neighbor's daughter. It's believed he's fled to Japan, but the lack of a fugitive surrender agreement might be a barrier to his arrest. The 63-year-old was found dead in her home in Kwai Fong Terrace on Tuesday night. It's believed the woman's neighbor had keys to her home. Police think she interrupted a burglary and the accused killed her with a crowbar. Sources say jewelry worth over $100,000 was stolen. Currently, there are no mutual agreements for the surrender of fugitives between Hong Kong and Japan. The city's former security minister, Lai Tong Kwok, told us how Hong Kong authorities can proceed with the manhunt.
The police can seek assistance through the Interpol, or as an alternative, they can invoke the mutual legal assistance on criminal matters signed between the Hong Kong SL government and the Japanese government. It is very unfortunate that within a quite short span of time, we experienced 2 cases. But fortunately, our police are very effective.
The United Kingdom's Chancellor of the Exchequer, Jeremy Hunt, has delivered a crucial national budget as he set out his plan to try to rescue a desperate economic situation for the country. Hunt hopes to get more people into work and ease the inflation burden on families. David Garrett explains.
The door of number 11 Downing Street opens for Jeremy Hunt on Budget Day. Inside the traditional ministerial red box is the UK government's plan to kickstart the ailing economy, with the ruling Conservative Party trailing the opposition Labour Party by a wide margin. Hunt flanked by his team of advisers, hoping he's got the sums and the balance right. The Chancellor of the Exchequer setting the financial and economic course for Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's leadership. Sky-high inflation means the standard of living for most has deteriorated. Hunt left his working home in Downing Street and made the short drive toward Parliament to deliver his budget speech. He started on a positive note.
Madam Deputy Speaker, in the face of enormous challenges, I report today on a British economy which is proving the doubters wrong. Today, the Office for Budget Responsibility forecasts that because of changing international factors and the measures I take, the UK will not now enter a technical recession this year.
Hunt became Chancellor only in October during the latter days of the problematic 49-day stay of Liz Truss as Prime Minister.
Inflation in the UK will fall from 10.7% in the final quarter of last year to 2.9% by the end of 2023. People remain in real distress, and we should always stand ready to help when we can. So after listening to representations from Martin Lewis and other experts, I today confirm that the energy price guarantee will remain at £2,500 for the next 3 months. I today confirm that, subject to consultation, nuclear power will be classed as environmentally sustainable.
Hunt was heckled by the opposition several times. Labour have a huge lead in the polls with an election expected next year. Hunt sat down after his speech of over an hour and a half. Prime Minister Sunak looked pleased, but the nation is gripped by industrial disputes. They both know an improvement in the economy is a necessity if they are to remain in power. The Chancellor went to a kindergarten in London to highlight another of his policies, financial assistance with care for very young children. The kids seemed happy to see him, but the Conservatives know it is the parents, the voters, who they need to satisfy before they can sit comfortably. David Garrett, TVB News.
That's the news. Thanks for watching.